up and sit down.
Welcome to the Health and Wealth Podcast with your hosts, Tim and Carter.
What's trending, Enrichers? Carter Wilcoxon, founder of CSI Financial Group here, with my co-host and former wealth advisor, Tim James, founder of
ChemicalFreeBody.com and your new health advisor. This is the show where we reveal the connection between physical and financial abundance.
Hey, welcome back, Enrichers. Carter Wilcoxon coming to you from sunny, warm, summertime, Phoenix, Arizona. You know, we were just talking pre-show a little bit that it's around 110 degrees out here in Phoenix, Arizona, and very comfortable in the morning and nighttime. Everything's not bad. You got to take the good with the bad. Unlike my phenomenal co-host, Mr. Chemical Free Body himself, coming in from Eastern Oregon, probably has to deal with some mosquitoes, which I don't really have to deal with at all out here. So, Tim James, how are you, my man?
Well, I'm doing good. We have a few mosquitoes here and there, but it just kind of depends on where you're at. But thank God where we live, you'll hardly even find them. Oh. But I'm sure that this year there'll be more because we're having I know it's hot everywhere else in the country, but it's extremely wet. It's 59 degrees right now. It's kind of raining, hailing. I mean, we've had all kinds of crazy stuff, like snow on the hill last night and the night before. Like it snowed.
Wow.
Which is like, it's June 14th. It's like, usually it's like, 80, 90 degrees by now.
Yeah.
Smoking. But it'll be 100 degrees here pretty soon. It's just that it gets there eventually.
Well, that's so funny. I don't know. What is the elevation where you're at then?
2,800 foot in the valley, and then the mountains around are around, 3,000 to 5,000.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, hey, Enrichers, we are very excited. We have another one of our, fairly young financial advisors that are on the show today. I want to go ahead and welcome in Erik Kroll from Hilltop Financial Advisors, and we're going to be talking about some other things he's doing that's an extension of that. So, Erik, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Carter. Tim?
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, absolutely our pleasure, my man. So, well, let's go ahead and just jump right on into it and everything. I know you are coming in from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So home of the Brewers.
Home of the Brewers. They're doing all right this year, for now anyway.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Now that they're, so funny. I remember growing up, aging myself a little bit. The World Series between the Cardinals and the Brewers in '82. Back whenever the Brewers were in the American League, and now they're in the National League, obviously. But I was a huge fan of that guy. I don't remember what they call the beer guy that goes down the slide. What's his name?
Bernie Brewer.
Yeah, Bernie Brewer. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever as a kid. That like this guy someone hits a home run and this guy goes sliding down the slide. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I was sort of a Brewers fan growing up. So Robin Yount and Paul Molitor, some of the the big guys that played for those teams. I would just remember those guys fairly well. So, Erik, thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. And Enrichers, thank you for joining us as well here to listen to another backstory and hear some of the cool things that Erik is doing in his financial practice out there in Milwaukee. So, Erik, let's go ahead and, get into, you're fairly young. How old are you?
35.
35. Okay. All right. So that's considered millennial still? I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. You're on the edge.
I'm part of that generation. Yeah.
Part of the generation. So, since you're fairly young, let's talk about how, what was some of the infancy stages? What was it that kind of, if you can remember, if there are some certain things, growing up that sort of sent you down that path into getting into the financial services arena in the first place?
In the first place, it was all about investing for me. I picked up a book, not even a book, watched this show on CNBC. It's got all the bright lights flashing, buy this, buy that. I just thought it was super cool. And I got into investing. In college, I said, okay, I want to do something with this. So I just sent out my resume to anywhere I could think of that did investing. And I happened on this financial planner. She was a comprehensive financial planner that helped her clients, not just with investing, but with debt, insurance, and making sure their estate plans were all in place. And I thought that was the coolest thing. It had to do a lot much more than investing, and it was helping people, having a big impact on people's lives. And I fell in love with financial planning and the financial planning industry from there.
Wow. So speaking of college, was there any? I mean, did you see anything? Early on, maybe high school, college, or whatever, like before that you thought to yourself, before this book even, right, that would maybe send you down that path to the financial services industry in the first place?
Maybe. I had it, we have a couple classes in high school, pick some stocks here and there, and I always seem to do better or do well or above average compared to my classmates. So I always thought it was interesting. I always had this interest ever since I learned about it, but that's when it really took off, was in college.
So was there any influence like from your parents when it came to like investing? Obviously, our parents are older, and was there something that maybe your dad or your mom, growing up that maybe was intriguing thinking back, if you can?
Yeah, actually, my dad's company, it went public while he was working. This was, I don't know, freshman or sophomore in high school. And I remember not necessarily the exact conversations we had, but I remember talking about, how much should we put into this? It feels like it's going to the moon. The unfortunate part to that was it did not go to the moon, and it went the exact opposite direction of that.
It went to a different moon on a different solar system.
Yes, it did. I think a year later it was out of business. So, but that was an interesting time because, IPOs, and it was all very new to me, seemed very, very cool. So we had some conversations around that, and that was one experience that I had with that.
Okay. All right. So now, did you go to college in Milwaukee, or did you go away from home and then come back, or where's your home originally, I guess?
My home originally is in Alaska. So I went to college here in the Milwaukee area for a small school.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit. I think, Tim, you went to Alaska not too long ago. So born and raised in Alaska, and then you the first time you sort of went to was it the lower 48 they call it, right? Is that when you first got introduced to the States?
No, well, so I grew up playing hockey, and I was born in DC, moved up to Alaska at a very young age. So for all intents and purposes, raised and from Alaska.
And you're still doing a rec league in hockey, right? Full contact?
Yeah. Did not full contact. My body can't take that anymore. But yeah, I participate in the rec league once a week in the winters. And,
so you probably like Happy Gilmore, that movie, right?
That was a good one. Yeah.
For a hockey dude.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Oh yeah, I'm a hockey player, but I'm playing golf today.
with the golf club that's a hockey stick for the putter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
exactly.
That was legit, dude.
Yeah.
I was up in Dillingham, which is a big fishery up there. It's north of Anchorage and stuff. My buddy's I got some friends that got some cabins up there. We took my boys up fishing last summer.
Oh, that's really cool. I've never been out there. Can't get to it by road, so you have to get to it.
Hey, why don't you tell people about, the mosquitoes are bad enough, but the damn no-see-ums.
Yeah, they're all over.
Tell them about no-see-ums and how they can get through your screen window. It's crazy.
You can't see them. That's about no-see-ums. Yeah,
they're tiny and they'll bite you.
Yeah, all over the place. They're almost worse than mosquitoes sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So it's so funny because when I visualize Alaska, I don't visualize mosquitoes, right? And Tim, you were talking about it that whenever you came back, and you're like the size of your hand or something like that.
Well, there's lots of them. There's just lots of them. Like I would go outside because I'm really into fresh, healthy stuff, and I want to make use of what's locally. And so I was out picking dandelion leaves for the salads and fiddleheads, which you're probably familiar with.
Yeah.
It's a fern, and you can get the tips of them. And I was making fiddlehead dandelion leaf salads and with other stuff, but I had to put a mosquito net on over my head and to go out just to pick fiddleheads because they swarm you. But at least on the lake and stuff on the river where we're fishing, it wasn't that bad. A little bit of wind and hardly bother you at all. But you get into the bushes and stuff, and where there's water standing, and you're toast if you're not covered up.
Wow,
the state bird.
Yeah,
the state bird.
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious. So, what was it about going to Milwaukee that attracted you? I'm just curious. What was the connection from Alaska to go to a small school in Milwaukee?
Really, it was hockey.
No.
I grew up playing hockey, wanted to continue playing hockey in college, and I got to continue that.
Nice. So was that NAIA? Was that D2? Was that, you say, a small school? Give me an idea.
D3. Went to Concordia University, Wisconsin, and it's a D3 hockey school. With hockey, college hockey, you either have D1 or D3. That's it.
Oh, there is no D2.
No, we just skip straight to just one or three.
Wow, interesting. So now, when you're in those D3 schools, do you ever happen to play against D1 schools from time to time, or is it only D3 plays D3?
Only D3 plays D3.
Okay. I just didn't know if maybe there was there was a really good D3 school that might play like a decent D1.
You could get some really good D3 schools that could compete with D1 schools, the lower half anyway.
Yeah. So how was you played 4 years, or how long were you there in school playing hockey?
I played for 2,
okay.
And then I wasn't that good, so they brought in new players, and so then I got to just focus on classes.
Right. So while you're in college, then was that when you said you were watching the CNBC show, and that's what got you sort of intrigued into it, or is it many years after that? I couldn't remember.
It was beginning of college and like a little bit before. I was into investing. I think I started going to school at 2007, right before the big recession.
Great recession.
So I remember sitting in my dorm room watching, I think it was C-SPAN, trying to figure out what the Congress people were going to do, how they were going to vote for one of the big stimulus packages and whatnot during the big crash there. So yeah, I got into it quite a bit.
Yeah, and then now here you are. So, and I know we're going to get ready to go into the second segment, and we're going to get really deep into your practice and everything. But so, from the time you started getting your licenses, CFP, 65, all those different things that maybe you might have, how long has that been now that you've been, in the financial services arena?
About over 10 years now, just over 10.
Nice. Awesome. So, well, what was it like? We normally don't ask this, but I'm going to ask this of you because you've been in it for about 10 years. Can you remember, some of the early struggles that you might have had or challenges that you might have had that, thinking back on it now, had you known then what you know now on maybe some of the differences that you might have made with your own practice?
That's a good one. I think, knowing now what I know then, knowing
then what you know now, right?
Yeah.
I think I said it the first time, actually.
One of those.
Yeah.
If I had to go back, I would probably specialize sooner than what I did, than when I decided to.
Now, when you say specialize, do we want to go into that in the next segment? Is that a good segue, maybe?
Sure.
Oh. Well, there you go, Tim James. That's our good segue.
All right. Well, I think it was a good one. I was surprised you didn't pick up on the hockey stuff, and I had to drag that in. Carter's usually the sports fiend, so I was glad to be able to hop in that saddle and bring that to light. And I really think it's a good idea too. Like if people are looking for a financial advisor, not that you couldn't be, but I just noticed people that are in in sales positions and stuff like that, they just seem to do better when they played sports.
Yeah,
I would just on average. I mean, because they're used to working in a team, and it's not you know, unless it was like wrestling or something. But it's still wrestling. You're a team sport because you add them all up, and the team could win a state title too. So anyway, I thought it was really cool that you played hockey. You grew up in Alaska. You're probably really grounded. You got some street smarts. You got some common sense, which is a little bit lacking today. So
Seems that way.
yeah, and I can't wait. So we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, let's get into what Erik's up to with student loans over 50. We'll tell you all about it when we get back.
Estate planning. What does that even mean? When the inevitable happens for everyone on this planet, your estate plan kicks into action. But first, let's start with what an estate is. An estate is simply everything you own. Now, here's the issue and what needs to be understood when this event occurs. You only have two choices on this plan. Number one, either you plan how your estate gets handed out and distributed to those you leave behind. Or number two, your state decides who gets everything you own. For the first time ever, you can now take complete and total control of this plan that you've been deprived of for most of your life and generations before you. You can get personalized assistance along the way with a team of specialists whose job it is to make sure you have true peace of mind. It's important to understand that estate planning is a journey, and rest assured that our team will be available to you all along the way and at every step. Welcome to eState Plan, home of the last estate plan you'll ever need. To learn more, make sure to reach out to your local advisor licensed with us or go to our website for more information.
What's up, Enrichers? Tim James here. I'm back with my co-host Carter Wilcoxon. And today in the house we've got Erik Kroll, certified financial planner. And Erik, usually, a lot of the advisors we have on, they have their niche and stuff like that and what they do. And a lot of the people that we have on, they really care about their clients, and it comes through. I can feel it when I talk to people. I can pick up on people's frequency and their energetics. And but I thought it was really interesting. You actually have a website that is called studentloansover50.com. And I was like, oh, well, what's this about? Right. So why don't you tell us all about Student Loans for 50? What is it? How did you start it? And what are you doing to help people with that?
Sure. So, you talk about the niche. There's people that deal with student loans. There's people that deal with helping people retire. Not many people are combining them both. Actually, I don't really know too many people that are focusing on bringing those together.
I've never heard of it.
That's where I come in. There's more than 1 million borrowers, student loan borrowers that are over 50, but there's about 1 million that are over 50 with over $100,000 in student debt. And that's a real problem. When you're 50, when you're 20, 30, have that kind of debt, you're likely a doctor or an attorney, and you're younger, so you have a lot of time to pay it off. When you're 50, you don't have a lot of time to pay that off, not before retirement anyway. And there's a lot of different things you can do with student loans, especially federal student loans, that there's a lot of planning opportunities there to help people retire earlier. I just started seeing more and more people that were in that situation. And I said, I know the student loan piece. I know the financial planning piece. It's really, it just lights a fire inside of me when I can help someone shave years off of their working life and get into retirement sooner. So I started, that's how Student Loans Over 50 was born.
Okay. And so, let's just say I'm over 50 and I have $150,000 in student loan debt, and I'm like, what would be your average client? Am I like a lady or a man that's making like $65,000 a year, or a couple kids? What's that avatar look like?
Yeah, you're probably making 100,000, maybe a little bit more. You have college age kids, little bit older than college age, because that's how you got the debt. You put your kids through school, so 2-3 kids, and
Oh, so it's not their debt; it was for their children.
most of the time, yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. I was wondering about that. I'm like, what happened? They should have it paid off by now, or at least getting close.
Yeah, some people will go back to school at that age and change careers, but most of the time it's from having those Parent Plus loans, putting their kids through school.
Got it.
And a lot of parents feel an obligation to help out their kids no matter what, and college is not cheap these days. You have 2 or more kids, it starts adding up really, really fast.
Yeah, it does. So I'd say I'm 55 years old. I got 150,000 student loan debt. I putting 2 kids through college. And so is it kind of like Social Security, like where, I mean, if you don't do anything, you just kind of sign up, you start it whenever you want. There's really no planning to it, but there's quite a bit you can do with Social Security. Is it kind of the same thing with student loans? Can you give us like a little taste of like some strategies you're using without, letting the cat out of the bag 100%?
Sure. So if you have Parent Plus loans, we got to get you out of Parent Plus loans and transition, still under the federal system, transition you into a direct loan so that you can get on a repayment plan that's decent. And from there, especially if you have 150,000 and make it 100,000, you're likely going to go on a income-driven repayment plan, and we're going to pursue forgiveness. There's different types of forgiveness programs out there, 10 or 20 or 25 years, depending on where you work, essentially, and how high your income is. And sometimes the goal is to just not pay down the loan balance at all. And rather than a debt, it's more like a tax. So 10 or 15% of your income goes to your student loans. We control the income, taxable income anyway, and we keep your loan payment as low as you can, as low as we can.
Until you can hit the forgiveness mark.
Yeah, exactly. And that really, so the reason why we do that is so that you can save for retirement and really just focus on the things that are really important to you.
So this is like anybody listening that's 50 or older and has student loan debt should really pay attention to this, because there's strategies. And what you do is that you take those strategies and you blend them with a certified financial planning practice.
Yes.
And blend the two and to maximize the retirement with student loans, because it's kind of like having this house sitting over there that they can't rent, but it's like having a small mortgage payment on it, right?
Yeah.
And there's different interest rates and stuff. And it seems like you guys help them restructure the loan, refinance the loan, whatever you want to call it. Maybe they improve rates, change the terms, and structure it based on what they make, what their goals are, and all that stuff. And it's just a comprehensive approach. So I get that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
Let me jump in, Eric. So I'm curious, what sent you down that path? Was it something that happened to you personally, or was it something that a friend of yours? I'm just wondering how you even decided, hey, I think this might be a unique niche specialty for me.
Yeah. So the story for student loans over 50, probably there is no story unless we have talked about Hilltop Financial Advisors, which is I'm running that practice as well. That's where I originally started my firm, and that was more a general financial planning practice. And I just happened to get some clients that were over 50 and had a lot of student loans, and it happened more than once, to the point where it's like, okay, and I had started specializing in student loans in general, so usually just helping out 20s and 30-year-olds with their large student loan balances. But then I started seeing there's a few here and there that are coming in that are over 50. They have no idea what to do, and someone needs to help them.
Wow. So there wasn't, it was just sort of like you just kept noticing a pattern that was happening.
Yes.
So you actually just made the decision yourself that I think I can help more people that are falling into this category.
Yes. Yeah. I bought the domain name Student Loans Over 50 a year before I even turned it into a practice, just because I liked the name. I thought it was good. I was worried it wasn't going to be profitable, but it certainly can be, and it can help a lot of people out. So I had the idea for a while, didn't act on it though right away.
Yeah. So you've got these two different, entities, so to speak, right? You got Hilltop Financial Advisors, then you got your loans over 50 deals. So does one blend into the other one? Do they work in conjunction with one another, or is there a lead in just based upon the clientele that is coming to you?
To best answer that question, I have it set up mostly Hilltop. Hilltop owns student loans over 50.
Okay.
Student loans over 50 is a subsidiary, an extra brand, or an additional brand, essentially. And it'll depend on they each kind of run on their own, and depending on what client comes in the door, they either go to Hilltop or they go to student loans over 50 based on what problems they're dealing with.
All right. So when it comes to student loans over 50, though, I would imagine that there's plenty of times when you're actually working with clients that are younger than 50.
Yeah. Well, then they would just go to, I would say, hey, let's work it with Hilltop Financial.
Okay. All right. So that's where it kind of sort of entered.
How do those people go to student loans under 50? It's the other website.
Yeah, maybe I need to start it by that.
Just
domain.
kidding. Go to Hilltop Financial Services. Oh, wait, I think it's hilltopfa.com, right? Financial advisor for Hilltop, then for financial advisors.
Yeah.
Hilltopfa.com if you're under 50 and you got a bunch of student loan debt.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what is your makeup then, since you do have these two different entities. What's the makeup of your clientele then? Obviously, you've got some over 50, you got some under 50. What is that breakdown, if you don't mind, sharing that with the enrichers?
Right now, it's about 20 to 30% is over 50.
Okay.
And the rest are under. My practice tends to, Hilltop started serving younger professionals, so that practice skews younger anyway. And student loans over 50 is newer. So
yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about XY planning, because I know that's on your site as well. Is that something that is an association that you're part of, or how does that come into play for you?
Yeah, so that's a association that I'm part of, XY Planning Network. It's grown quite a bit since I started. Joined 5 years ago there, and back when it was, I think, under 100 advisors part of the association, and they help advisors, especially if you're starting out on your own, starting your own practice. They get you up from a compliance perspective, set you up with the different tech tools that you'll need, and provide a lot of support. There's a really active forum there that, any marketing questions or financial planning questions, like if I don't know something about this one very specific thing, I can send out the question in the forums and someone's going to know. So it's very supportive network, very, very helpful. Helped me start my own practice, get launched, and they're there to make sure you help run your business efficiently and effectively.
Nice. Did you discover them on your own, or was that something that was sort of referred to you?
I think I read about it in a magazine article. Actually, the one of the co-founders, Alan Moore, he was a financial advisor in the Milwaukee area. I had no connection to him while he was running his own practice, but he started in Milwaukee. I thought it was kind of interesting, and I actually got to have a beer with him one time at a local bar before he moved out to Montana full time.
Oh, nice, awesome. So so you've got these two different planning organizations, and this way you can really help a big, wide variety of different type of clientele. So just out of curiosity, how are you getting, some of your clientele or some of your over 50 sort of introducing you to some of their, their kids, like generationally? Does that happen from time to time?
It does. And actually, I think it's actually worked in the reverse. Is the younger generation I'm working with has referred their parents in a bit of cases, and a few of those cases were those were they became student loans over 50 clients.
Wow, awesome. So your entire practice, then, you've got feels like you're wearing like multiple hats all at one time. Is there sort of like an ideal client, and you have a way of like sort of getting to them first, or how are you getting like some new clientele from time to time? Is that from marketing strategies that you do you talked about, XY planning network and stuff? Is that some stuff you're doing, right now currently?
So with the Hilltop Financial Advisors, the marketing has been, it's actually doing quite well on the just search engine optimization, which I've done. I've really not done much. I'm part of XY Planning Network. I'm part of another organization, NAPFA, NAPFA, and the Fee Only Network. And those 3 sites are pretty credible, and they point to me, link to my site, and so I get a decent amount of traffic, at least geographically local traffic, when people search for financial advisor near me. They find me. My website is the language is for younger professionals, and so then so they naturally fall in there. With the student loans over 50, it is we're currently running Facebook ads and marketing on that end, because it's not as easy to find. There's a lot of people that are over 50 with student loan debt, but they are still very spread out in the state and the country. So it's not as easy to network locally for that.
Nice. Well, so I have one last question. I know that I can see, Tim, we're getting ready to go to break here to get to the third segment, but I've had a lot of guests on this show, and it seems like over the last couple of years, and of course, it just makes perfect sense, for you working with younger generation. Are you having a lot of your meetings with clients that may not necessarily be in your own city or state because of the access to the internet and being able to have virtual meetings? Kind of almost like how we're doing this, this podcast today. Are you getting clients and SEO is being pushed out no matter what parts of the country, or are you start trying to stay primarily in Wisconsin?
The whole country. I can work throughout the whole U.S. But what I have found is still most of the search traffic does come from my local area.
Gotcha. But the communication's been good, even with those over 50.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they're old by any stretch. I'm 50. I'm over 50. I'm 50 in a day. That makes me over 50, right? So I'm pretty good with technology. But if they're over 50, right? Maybe they're 60, 65. The communication, have you found that to be a little bit easier to be able to, do follow-ups and meetings and things like that with technology with them?
Yeah, the technology that's available today, I certainly wouldn't be able to run a national student loans over 50 practice even probably 5 years ago. But now the technology has definitely helped out with that.
Yeah, you could totally do it. And there's people out there that just don't do internet at all. My buddy just turned 50, had his 50th birthday party, and guess how his wife advertised it to get everybody to show up?
Flyers.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Chad ain't getting on Facebook. He makes fun of people on that stuff. He's never on it, ever. So she can go on Facebook and talk about him all she wants, and she booked his surprise birthday party, and he had no clue, but everybody else did because he ain't on Facebook. So there's people out there like that.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
No doubt about it. No doubt.
But the majority of people, because of the whole pandemic schmeal deal, are getting pretty adept to Zoom calls, Skype calls, webinar jams, stuff like that we're doing right now. So, all right, guys. Well, it's a good time. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to let Erik ask me any question on health. We'll be right back.
want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently, but we're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com.
What's up, Enrichers? Tim James here. I am back with my co-host Carter Wilcoxon. Again, in the house, we've got Erik, Kroll, certified financial planner, and he also still whacks the hockey stick around. I'm really, that's awesome, dude. You're still doing that in a rec league, keeping yourself busy and little those competitive juices flowing. That's really cool. And he has a 2.5-year-old daughter. We heard her bathwater run in the first segment. I was wondering what that little noise was. She's up there getting clean and playing with mommy, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, fresh dad. That's makes you just like want to step up everything inside, dude. You're like, wow, I got this little woman, I got this little baby. It's like I got to get out and just conquer the world. This is great. All right, so let's help you. You're doing a great job on the wealth creation for yourself and other people, and protecting those assets and helping them out with loan debts. StudentLoansOver50.com. And so, what questions do you have for me in the health arena?
Well, since I'm picking up my daughter a lot, do you have any good exercises to do for my back, or for just keeping right posture, or things like that? My back.
Yeah, is your low back pretty tight?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, cool. Right. So, yeah, this is gonna be fun. So, have you done any yoga?
In the past, yeah.
Okay, so when we lift weights or we actually do activities that are, cause a weight, we need to be doing weight resistance exercises. And you're picking up your daughter all the time, right? And your lower back, right? Sometimes golf, Carter. A lot of golfers have lower back issues. Yeah. Your muscles as we get older, like your daughter as an example, she's like super flexible. You lay on her back, her legs are going all over the place. She's super, you know what I mean? And as we get older, we're losing that flexibility. Why? Because if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So these inside of your body, you have these like, just not just the muscles, but fascia. And this fascia is like taffing. It gets harder and harder. And so I'm actually a yin yoga instructor. So yin yoga is all about 3 to 10 minute stretching postures that will very gently open that stuff back up. And I'm telling you, it's rapid healing when you do this stuff. So one of the easiest postures is called forward fold. You'll stand up. You can have your feet together, or maybe in the beginning you have them, shoulder width apart. And then what you do is you just bend your knees and you slowly bend over, and you want to get your chest and your belly on your thighs. And you just hang. And you don't want to do it if it's like painful, but you want to be right on the edge. Just a little bit of discomfort. We're not looking to cause any pain here because you're going to be down there for a while. Now, the first 90 seconds is just going to be in that position, is just warming up the fascia. No real benefit yet. You're just getting to the promised land by that first 90 seconds. Once the 90 seconds happens, then the fascia will start to move. And this is where the healing begins. You'll start opening up that fascia. So this is really important to know this, because it's not about ego. It's not about hardcore stretching. It's about very gentle, and keep your breath moving the whole time. Always focus on breath in, breath out. That's the main focus when you're doing these postures. So that is one that is profound. Another strategy you can do is called acupressure. A lot of people can't get to an acupuncturist. You see these little nodules on this mat here? This is called a spunk mat. I can put the thing there if you guys can see it. I can't see it. It's called spoonkSpace.com. SPOONKSPACE. These are little nodules. Now, people have low back issues. We have them you can get, this is like, it's made out of organic hemp, and it's got these little spiky deals on it. There's like $60, and you can get a big one, and you get this little one. And this little one can also, like, fold up in a circle like this, and it's got little grabbers on it. And then this can be for a neck deal with the big one. So you roll this one up like that, might as well, and then put the other one on your back, and then might need to put a pillow under the back one and kind of work your way onto it. In the beginning, it's a little interesting because they're pretty sharp and pokey. But once you get used to it, it's not that big of a deal. Now, you're going to lay on that sucker for 10 to 30 minutes, once, twice, 3 times a day, whatever you need. But most people, probably in your case, you're younger, probably once or twice a day is all you need. And doing it before bed will actually help you sleep, too. So beyond that, I would say number one, I should have said number one, is water. Making sure you have adequate water intake. Water is the lubricant of life. This is very important for your joints. It's important for your muscles, your ligaments, your tendons, your fascia, everything. So water's number one. And then I would do those yin yoga stretching. You can type up yin yoga back postures, right? You'll see they'll probably have forward fold there. And they'll have a couple other ones like where you can lay down, twist your legs one way or the other. You'll see them. Very, very low impact, very easy to do, very simple, but very profound. And I have athletes. Like I had this guy who was a snowboarder, and he came and did a yin yoga class with me. And then afterwards, he called me the next day. He's like, dude, my hips haven't felt this open in years. I was able to kind of do other things that I haven't been able to do in like a decade on the snowboard, and he only went to one class. So guess what? He came back and came back and came back. He started coming back. And the more you do it, the more you're going to get back to like that 2.5-year-old daughter that you got. You're going to improve your flexibility. And this is like medicine. So as you age, you're actually bulletproofing yourself from injury. That's how powerful it is. Now, I watched a while back. I think I've talked about this before, Carter. Maybe you remember. I think it's the Shaolin monks, right?
Yeah.
And they can like spin around in the air and kick you in the face. And they got this karate practice, right? And they train since they're 4 years old. Well, they also have a yoga type stretching practice that they do. Not all of them. And one of the masters came out, and he was standing there and he was getting interviewed. And these are some of the most badass people on the planet. And he said the masters that practiced only the karate start losing their power in their 60s and 70s. But the masters that practice both the karate and the yoga, the stretching, and the ligaments and that kind of stuff, never lose their power. And they have like little old men over there that are 100 years old that will take a 250-pound NFL linebacker and eat his lunch because they will use his own energy and his own body and all of his strength against him. And they're 100, right? So that right there should tell you that it's so important that not just building, but working on the flexibility. And then when you get older, you won't need Velcro shoes early anyway, because you can be able to tie your shoes, right? You probably have some clients come in, they got Velcro shoes because they can't bend down because they're not drinking enough water. They become sedentary. They're not doing it. They're not proactive, right? Look at the body like a car, take good care of it, maintenance it. It'll take care of you and get you where you need to go. Great question, man. Any other questions about health or any questions, sub questions or off that?
Well, the sleep one is an issue for me, so I don't even know exactly what question to ask. But if there's any foods or good exercises for making sure you get sleep or how much sleep.
What time do you go to bed usually?
Probably too late, like 11.
11. Okay. Do you have who's waking or is daughter waking you up? Is that kind of the problem?
Not during the middle of the night. Used to be, but not.
Oh wow, you're lucky. She's already out of that deal. Okay, that's good.
Actually, my issue is I just wake up groggy all the time, and actually it doesn't seem to matter how much sleep I get.
Okay, so it sounds like shallow sleep syndrome. So you're getting your 7-8 hours in, but you wake up and you're exhausted. So what's happening is you're not getting into your deep, restive, restorative sleep. So when that's happening, what we do is like if you hired me as a coaching client, we would go systematically through your entire environment, everything. And a lot of times it's actually quite surprising. You were right. Nutrition does make a difference in sleep. I mean, we have products like our Green 85 juice formula that we've had many people comment on how much better their sleep is when their body is filled up with the building blocks of life, right? So just that alone. I mean, I've heard weird stuff. I actually had a guy, Carter, that was like, he's a buddy of mine. He lost like 42 pounds, taking the products and drinking a lot of water and stuff. but he had a mechanical issue in his ear. He's like, Tim, I don't know what's going on, but he goes, I've had tinnitus in my ear. So he's got this ringing in his ear and it's like annoying. And he said, it's almost gone. What's going on? And I didn't know, because I thought that was totally mechanical, but then I figured it out. He had inflammation in his body and in his ears. So that inflammation was pushing those little micro bones in the ear in the wrong area. And then as he was getting more alkaline, drinking more water, he was reducing the inflammation, took the pressure off the bones in his ear. And that's probably what happened. That was my best guess. So you're going to see, as you improve your health, Erik, other things will improve. But beyond that, back to sleep. So yeah, water is important. We talked about that already, for the lubrication, for your back and all that stuff. Nutrition, easy to accomplish. We help with that. Detoxing the body, getting the toxic chemicals out of your body that you're everybody's polluted. Like, I already know you're polluted. Like, even your daughter's polluted. Every single child being born today has over 180 cancer-causing chemicals in the umbilical cord blood, and they're only testing for 400. So we know all of us are polluted today. That's why I have a company that's called Chemical Free Body. We want to bring awareness to this. So getting, we go to the basics, getting this stuff aware, stop putting it in, cleaning up. Now, beyond that, we have to look at your mattress. Does your mattress have metal coils in it?
Yes,
metal
it
springs?
does. Yeah.
Are those metal springs insulated individually?
Gosh, I don't even know.
Probably not. I only know one bed that is, right? It's called the organics bed. So those metal coils, unfortunately, do you live in the city, or are you kind of out in the country, or where are you at?
Suburban.
Okay, so there's Wi-Fi, smart meters, 5G, 4G, all that stuff's around there, right? So those little silver coils are becoming conductors. They're bringing in all this electromagnetic energy, and they're zapping you at night and your wife. And you can't see it, right? So I knew about this, and I'm like, when I was checking out these beds, this guy's like, I said, what are you doing for spinal support? He goes, well, we use metal coils. And I was thinking, and I was thinking in my mind, I'm out, because there's no way I'm sleeping on that crap, because I know too much. I've had experts on my podcast about, EMFs and beds and all this stuff. And he said, but I know what you're going to say. He said, you're going to say EMFs, and it's going to be a conductor. I was like, yeah, you're reading my mind. He's like, well, we're smart about that. The coils are very important for spinal support. That's why I have 1,500 chiropractors on board with me, with my bed. But we individually wrapped the coils and completely insulated them so they don't conduct. I'm like, oh, okay. And he had actually one of the top EMF experts in the world walking away from his booth. He had to stop him and basically yell at him to get the information across, because the guy just shut down. Because as soon as he saw metal coils, he's like, I'm out of here. He's like, I can't promote this. And now he does promote the beds. Right. So this is a very important thing, because that smart meter outside of your house is 2.4 gigahertz. So it's basically like having a microwave on 24/7 zapping you. And even if the microwave is playing whatever it's on, you're getting zapped. People are getting zapped on the outside of a microwave, not just the inside. Most people don't know that. That's why if somebody turns on a microwave, I'm out of there, man. I work way too hard on my health. I don't want to get zapped. And the other thing is ELFs, electric low frequency, from your lights, your electrical grid in your home. These, you can take a meter, man, and go, you get within 3 foot of an electrical socket, and it's putting off ELFs. If your head or your body is within that range, you're getting zapped with that too, as an example. So there's little devices now you can plug in that will harmonize and block that field for you. And a lot of people that are more sensitive, they'll actually have a contractor, an electrician, come in and put a kill switch, at least on the bedrooms where they sleep, so they can stop the flow of electric current into the bedroom at night when they're sleeping. And it makes a huge, this has been a huge game changer for some people that couldn't sleep. So as you see, we systematically go through the environment, the things that you can't see, that people are not thinking about. And then we look at air quality. We want to make sure you're cracking your windows at night, because your homes are so polluted. Paint off gassing. Do you guys have carpet in the house?
We do, yeah.
Is it synthetic or natural fiber?
Synthetic.
Okay, so that's off gassing formaldehyde. Think about that. And we take 20,000 breaths a day. So you and your wife and your daughter are breathing that stuff in. Fresh air is going to help you sleep better, brother. So this is when we tell people, like, it's tough, because it's like, well, you got to get that carpet out of there. And people are like, well, that's going to be expensive and da-da-da. It's like, but I have to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear, right? So that would be on the plan, to get the carpet out as soon as you can, whenever you can afford it, and go to natural hard surfaces, to throw some wool rugs down and beat the rugs and clean them. Carpets are disgusting and gross anyway, but you're literally embalming yourself when you breathe that stuff in. So that's why it's important to crack your windows at the start. That's free and cheap. And then number 2, you can buy an air purification system to get you by. And actually the one that we recommend is on our website, and it actually has the zeolites mixed in with the carbon to actually filter out the formaldehyde, because the carbon filters, they're not going to filter out the formaldehyde, and neither is the HEPA, which is also in that filter. I have it running 24/7. You can ask Carter. Carter he copies what I do. He hasn't copied the sauna, but he hasn't copied the air system yet, right?
Sauna I do every single day.
Yeah.
I have not got done the air.
You wait till you get that air system and you start breathing your air. It's like having mountain fresh air in your house, and it actually gives you energy.
Yeah.
Like, so down the road, Eric, if you have employees and stuff like that, you want to have those systems in your office because they will be more productive and more alert because of the quality there. Think about it. As in a system, we have inputs, and air is number 1, water's number 2, and sleep is number 2.1. I mean, it's right there, because without air, you're dead in 4 to 7 minutes. Without water and sleep, both, you're dead in 11 days. So water and sleep are right there. Very important topics, and they come up quite a bit on this show where people are asking questions about water and sleep.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are a few things. We can even get into weighted blankets. I think it's very important to take a sauna before you go to bed. If you don't have a sauna, then you can at least rinse off with cold water really quick, or even lukewarm water, doesn't matter. Just get in the shower, rinse off, no soap needed, and dry off. And that water hitting your skin will help relax you. Doing meditation and breath work, turning off the blue lights an hour before, getting off the laptops, getting off the TVs, reading a book, making sure the lights are kind of dimmed down, right? Starting to get your body, because if there's light in nature, because in nature there wasn't a Thomas Edison back in the day for the entirety of history of our world, right? So when it gets dark, your eyes would sense that, and then your body would produce melatonin, which helps you get into the sleep rhythm. But if you have lights on, you see, your body still thinks it's daylight. That's where these blue lights are terrible. And so you just don't produce melatonin. You have a hard time falling asleep. And then another thing you can do, and I could go on, but you see is like there's a lot to talk about here, but we just keep stacking these things in your life. We take baby steps. I'm kind of throwing up on you right now. All right, but you can go back and write these all down, and then you can just pick the one that resonates with you and start there and just keep adding them until they're a lifestyle and a habit. And I promise you, your sleep's going to improve. The other thing is eating and drinking liquids and eating too close before bedtime. So we recommend that people start working. If you're eating at 9 o'clock at night, shave it down to 8:30 and work your way back to 6. Everybody should stop eating. Don't eat anything after 6. And then you're going to notice, because if you eat like a hamburger at 8 o'clock and you go to bed at 11, you're still going to be digesting that hamburger throughout part of the night. So your body is not going to be able to go into sleep mode, because its primary thing now is digest this food. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then you'll be asleep, but then you wake up groggy and you can't figure it out. Right. And then you have to be careful of stimulants and coffee. So there's a lot to it, but we just slowly kind of go through these. We get your air right. We get your water right, get some nutrition in you. We make sure you got your good bed, investing in these things, investing in air, water, and sleep in your home for you and your family is going to pay massive dividends. One of the best things you could do as the leader of your family and for yourself and your own personal health. Very important things to do. And you will separate yourself from most of the public, and then you don't have to have all the health issues and deal with all that garbage that people are dealing with and everybody else is. I mean, what would it be like to your business if you're sick for two weeks with a cold? It will, your business is shut down. Hey, when I shut down, I want to be in Hawaii or Costa Rica for 2 weeks, not in bed sniffling, right? And you can do that because I don't get sick. I don't get sick anymore. I used to get sick as a dog, and it was getting worse every year, but I've learned how to boost my immune system. So anyway, great questions. Did you have anything else?
Follow-up question for you on the sleep. So our we have an old mattress, so we'll be changing that out soon. We got a mattress pad, but you're all about chemical-free body. So is there anything like with mattress pads that I should be like just get a good?
Yeah, you won't even need them. Here's go to Organics Bed, ORGANIX. Organics. Let me look it up here. I think it's actually on let me see if it's on my website. And then if you use the code Health Hero, you get 10% off, and then you get like free sheets and free delivery and white glove service and all that stuff. I have an agreement with him now. It's organicsbed.com. I think that's what it is.
With an X?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and just make sure you use the code Health Hero. Organics. Maybe it's just organics.com. Let me look. It's pulling up right now. I wonder if that's it. Might be Organics Bed. Of course, slow internet connection, probably because we're streaming right now. But anyway, this thing's not pulling up. This up right here. But that bed is really cool. I was about, and I put that's, I think it's Organics Bed. Let me put it in there.
Yeah,
I put over a year's worth of research, my own time, because I was getting ready to purchase my bed. Right, it's time to get a new one, and I had landed on a mattress. That's it. Yeah, organics with an X bed.com. That's it. Okay, sweet. So that's it. And the one you want, because they have a down version, you want to get the Tranquility. That's the one you want to get.
There it is.
And you won't you will not need to buy another bed for probably 20 years. All right, so here's the deal with this mattress. Since we're talking about it, it's very important to know this. So the mattress that I was going to buy was $13,800. Right, that's how much I love myself, and I value sleep as number 2 right there with water. Right. Well, I was on this gal's show, Ashley James. She's awesome, and she said, "Oh, you're going to get a bed. Oh my God, you have to talk to Jason. He owns Organics Bed. I got it. It's the best sleep ever." And I totally trust her. She's like totally into hacking her health. And I was like, cool, I'll check it out. Well, I checked it out, and I was very surprised. So not only did I save $8,000, because it was like $5,500 instead of $13,800. So number one, yes, you want the thing to be chemical free. Very important. If you're doing these memory foam mattresses, most of them are going to be off-gassing 24/7, polluting you. If you're using the air chamber mattresses, don't get one, because they start building up mold inside of them, because there's this heat temperature changes and it just happens. There's no way to get away from it. And now you got mold and you're sleeping on mold. That's disgusting, right? And then you have the problems with the EMFs, with the metal coils. But like I said, this bed, they wrap the metal coils. It's completely non-toxic. But what they did was they contracted with the same company that has licensing to Dr. Scholl's and Jansport, this gel matrix stuff. It's also used in hospital beds for paraplegics and quadriplegics that can't move, or people that are bedridden, so they don't get bed sores. What it does is it completely disperses the weight in your body so that there's no pressure points, right? And those little mattress pads at the hospital are $14,000. That's what they cost. The entire bed has that on top of it. So basically what you have is a mattress that will displace all the pressure points. And by doing that, you can read up on these things. You stay in the REM sleep, the deeper sleep, right? And after about a week or two of getting used to it, you're going to start having the best sleep of your life. And everybody that's come to my bedroom and sat on the bed or laid down, they're like, "Oh my God, what is this?" And I'm like, "Lay down." They're like, "Oh my God." I mean, the only thing that sucks about these mattresses is taking vacations. Literally, you don't want to leave the house. That's how awesome they are. Right. And I bought this travel trailer, and I bought another one because it would hold a king mattress, because I already bought a king, and I was going to flop it in here, but it was too big. So I sold that one, and I got this one as about 6 feet shorter. But it only take a queen. So I bought another one. I had to buy another one because I have to sleep on that bed. My king is now in storage in my travel trailer. And then as soon as this is done, then this will go, I'll just give it to my mom. And then she'll have an awesome, but she's never going to pay that much money for a bed. So it's just not there. You know, she doesn't see the value, but she'll sleep on it once I give it to her. It'll be a present for her. So hopefully I'll have that done within the next 6 months. And then my mom will have it. Mom and dad will have the best bed ever. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so that's what I would do. I would get the Organics bed. I won't even think about it. It's a no-brainer. You check it out.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, hey, those were awesome questions, and I learned something new today, like I do every week with with Tim James, my co-host. So, hey, and Richards, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast Show. And to be able to see all of our previous recordings with great guests like Erik Kroll from Hilltop and student loans under 50.
Over 50. Student loans over 50.
You can't be talking about the under 50 one. You got to get that URL too, so you can be able to talk about both loans, right? Studentloansover50.com. You can go.
I think the 50 is spelled out 50.
It is.
It's not 50.
Thank you for that. In Richards, 50, not spelled out 50. But you can go to our website at www.thehealthandwealthpodcastshow.com and make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Podbean. So for my fantastic co-host, Mr. Chemical Free Body himself, Tim James, I'm Carter Wilcoxon. Thanking you all for joining us again for another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. Erik, thank you so much for coming on, and we really enjoyed the show today and having you on as a guest to be able to share your journey and to learn a little bit more about your own personal health journey.
Yeah, Carter, thank you, and thank you, Tim.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, brother. Great questions and great story and a great niche you got over there. I really like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, fantastic. So, in Richards, until next time, have a wonderful, fantastic rest of your day and week, and we will see you next time on the Health and Wealth Podcast Show. Thank you, everybody. Hey, and Richards, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Carter Wilcoxon.
And I'm your host, Tim James, and by God, we are committed to helping you guys have fat wallets, flat bellies. So tune in again for another episode and make sure to like, share, and drink a lot of water.
Or beer.
You have just listened to the Health and Wealth Podcast with Carter and Tim.